The deep space listening post was usually a quiet place. Days passed with no sound except the hum of machines and the soft breathing of tired operators. But one night, everything changed. A strange signal broke through the silence. It started as static, but then a voice appeared. A weak voice filled with fear. A human voice. The operator leaned closer, trying to understand the broken message. The last words were clear. Do not send more, they are not what you think. Then the message ended. Everyone in the room froze. They knew that voice. It belonged to Commander Hale, leader of the Titan Squad. Titan Squad was the strongest group of soldiers humanity ever trained. People believed nothing could kill them. They were sent to explore a dead world at the edge of the galaxy. It was supposed to be an easy job. They were supposed to report back in 1 hour. But they never did. No ship returned.
No veakon activated.
No soldier came home. For weeks, there was complete silence. Many believed they died instantly. Others believed something worse happened. Something powerful enough to erase the greatest warriors in human history. The government tried to hide the truth, but rumors spread fast. People whispered in fear. Some said the Titans found an alien weapon. Some said the planet was alive. Some said an enemy stronger than humanity was now watching Earth. To discover the truth, a new team was created. A small but smart unit called Echo 9. They were not the strongest fighters, but they were skilled in tracking, scanning, and surviving unknown places. Their leader, Captain Reeve, accepted the mission without hesitation. He believed the Titans might still be alive somewhere. But when Echo 9 studied the last message again, they felt something cold inside their hearts. The voice of Commander Hale did not sound alive. It sounded broken. It sounded like a warning from someone who had already lost everything. Still, Echo 9 prepared their ship and left for the dead world. The journey took 2 days. At first, everything was calm. But when they reached the edge of the system, their scanners picked up something strange. There were heartbeat signals. But they did not match human heartbeats. They did not match Titan Squad readings either. They belonged to something else. Something large. Something alive. Something waiting. As the ship moved closer to the planet where Titan Squad vanished, the stars behind them seemed to fade. A thick black cloud surrounded the world. It looked like a shadow covering the surface. Captain Reeve ordered them to activate full lights. The brightness cut through the darkness for a moment. Then something inside the black cloud moved. The crew felt the ship shake. Not because of a hit, but because something huge passed by. Something they could not see fully. Only the shadow of a massive form sliding between the clouds. One of the crew members whispered, "This is wrong. This place wants us." But the ship continued forward. As they entered orbit, the scanners showed a dozen signals from the ground. They matched Titan Squad armor pieces. But there were no life signs attached to them. No humans, no bodies, nothing. It was as if the armor was taken off and thrown away. Captain Reeve felt something tighten in his chest. He knew the Titans would never remove their armor unless they were dead. But something about this felt different. It felt unnatural. Echo 9 prepared to land. The landing pad touched the planet's surface gently. The soil was black and soft, almost like ash. But when they stepped on it, it moved slightly under their boots, as if something beneath it was shifting. The air was quiet. Too quiet. No wind. No sound. Just silence stretching in every direction. Then they heard it. A faint whisper. A voice that sounded like someone calling for help. The whisper came from deeper inside the planet, from an underground place. The team followed the sound carefully. Their lights showed broken armor pieces lying on the ground. Echo 9 recognized them instantly. Titan Squad. But again, there were no bodies. It felt like the warriors had disappeared into thin air. The whispers grew louder. The team reached a large crack in the earth. A red glow came from inside. It looked like a giant tunnel descending far below the surface. Their scanners showed movement deep inside the tunnel. Something was alive there. Something big. Captain Reeve looked at his team. He could see fear in their eyes. But he also saw determination. They had come too far to turn back now. As they stepped toward the glowing entrance, the ground shifted again. Small waves formed under the soil. It felt like the planet itself was breathing softly beneath their feet. The whispering stopped suddenly. The red light flickered. Everything went silent for a long moment. Then a new sound filled the air. A deep, slow heartbeat. Not human. Not mechanical. Something ancient. Something powerful. Something waiting for them. Captain Reeve whispered to himself, "This is what happened to the Titan squad." And before he could finish the thought, the darkness inside the tunnel moved. Something was coming toward them. Something that knew they were here. Something that had already taken the greatest warriors humanity had ever known. The darkness inside the tunnel felt alive. Echo 9 stood at the entrance, their lights shaking as their hands trembled. Captain Reeve signaled them to stay close. No one spoke. No one breathed too loudly. Every step felt heavier than the last. The ground under them was warm now, almost like skin. It made the team nervous. One of the soldiers, Lyra, knelt down and touched the surface with her glove. She pulled away instantly. "It's moving," she whispered. Reeve didn't want to believe it, but he felt it too. The ground rose and fell slowly, like a calm breath. The planet was not dead. It was awake. They stepped deeper into the tunnel. The red glow on the walls pulsed softly, as if reacting to their presence. The light grew stronger each time they moved closer. Their scanners picked up movement again. It was fast. It was large. And it was everywhere. The deeper they went, the stronger the whispering became. But now it was different. It no longer sounded like calls for help. It sounded like voices trying to copy human speech. Trying to learn. Trying to sound familiar. Lyra's voice cracked. "They're imitating us." Echo 9 continued carefully. The tunnel opened into a wide chamber. Their lights revealed broken weapons and shattered helmets. All belonged to the Titan squad. Yet still, there were no bodies. Something had taken them. Something had kept them. Something had learned from them. Reeve moved forward until he reached a large piece of armor. He turned it over slowly. The Titan emblem was still clear. But the armor was bent and stretched unnaturally, as if something had tried to reshape it. Then they heard a faint metallic tapping. Echo 9 turned their lights toward the sound. A Titan squad helmet slid across the floor by itself, as if pushed from the shadows. The soldiers raised their weapons instantly. The helmet stopped moving. Silence filled the chamber again. Then a low growl echoed from behind the rocks. Not human. Not animal. Something else. The team formed a circle, lights pointed outward. Their breathing echoed inside their helmets. The growl came again, closer. Suddenly, the red light in the chamber blinked twice. And the walls began to shift. The ground rippled under their feet. The rocks cracked open. Something stepped out. A tall, thin shape emerged from the darkness. Its skin was black and smooth, like melted metal. Its arms were long and sharp. But the strangest thing was its chest. Pieces of Titan squad armor were fused into it, like trophies or stolen body parts. The creature tilted its head at them. It moved slowly, almost curious. Its eyes glowed faint blue. Then it opened its mouth and spoke. "Help me." The voice was broken. It was using Commander Hale's voice.
Lyra gasped.
"That's not him. That can't be him." The creature stepped closer. Its movements were uneven, as if it wasn't used to a physical body. Reeve shouted for it to stop, but it continued to walk toward them. One of the soldiers fired. The shot hit the creature, but instead of falling, it absorbed the energy. The wound closed instantly. The creature straightened its posture, as if understanding something new. It had learned from the attack. It rushed forward with terrifying speed. Echo 9 scattered. 2 soldiers fired at the ceiling, bringing down rocks to block the creature's path. Dust filled the chamber. But the creature wasn't alone. More shapes moved in the shadows. Many more. They clicked, growled, whispered. The whispers grew louder, blending together into a single repeating phrase. Stay with us. Echo 9 ran deeper into the tunnels. Their scanners now displayed dozens of hostile signals. The creatures moved fast, blocking all exits. The team found another passage and hurried through it. The corridor opened into another chamber, even bigger than the last. The red glow was brighter here. In the center of the room stood a strange structure, a large cocoon-like form, pulsing with light. Reeve's eyes widened. They recognized the objects sticking out of the cocoon. Titan squad armor. Titan squad weapons. Titan squad helmets. It looked like the planet had gathered everything from the fallen warriors in one place. As Echo 9 approached, the cocoon cracked slightly. Something inside moved. A human hand pressed weakly against the inner surface. One of the Titan squad members was inside. Still alive.
Lyra gasped.
We have to get him out. But the ground began to shake violently. The walls closed in, pushing Echo 9 away from the cocoon. The heartbeat they heard earlier grew louder and louder. The planet was reacting, defending, warning them to stay back. Then the voice came again. A broken, shaking whisper that used Hale's voice. Do not save us, run. Echo 9 froze. They understood the truth. The Titans were not dead. But they were no longer fully human either. The planet was changing them, absorbing them, turning them into something else. As the creatures closed in around the chamber, Reeve shouted for everyone to retreat. They ran back toward the surface tunnels. The creatures followed, moving like shadows sliding across the walls. The whispers grew louder. Stay, stay, stay. Echo 9 sprinted toward the exit, knowing the truth. This world was alive. This world was hunting. And this world wanted them next. Echo 9 ran through the twisting tunnels, their footsteps echoing like drumbeats. The red glow behind them grew brighter, as if the planet was waking up fully now. The creatures followed silently, their long limbs scraping against the stone walls. The whispers never stopped. They seemed to come from everywhere, above them, below them, even inside their helmets. Captain Reeve forced himself to stay calm. Do not stop. Do not look back. Move. The team followed him, but their fear grew with every step. The tunnels twisted in strange shapes, as if they had changed since Echo 9 first entered them. It felt like the planet was rearranging itself, blocking their escape. One soldier, Vance, checked the map on his wrist display. Sir, the path behind us no longer exists. It's gone. Reeve didn't respond. There was no time. Finally, they reached a narrow corridor that opened into a deep cavern. The ceiling stretched high above them, almost invisible in the darkness. Echo 9 stepped forward slowly, weapons raised. Suddenly, the cavern lights, faint blue crystals on the walls, flickered on by themselves. A wave of cold air rushed past them. Something was here. Reeve motioned for silence. A sharp metallic clang echoed from across the chamber. Then another. Then another. As the lights grew brighter, Echo 9 saw figures standing on the far side of the cavern. At first, they thought the figures were human. They stood upright, wearing Titan squad armor. Chest plates, leg armor, helmets, everything looked familiar. But then the figures stepped forward, and Echo 9 saw the truth. The armor was not worn. It was fused into their bodies. Their skin had grown around it. One of the creatures raised its head. Its face was long and thin, with glowing white eyes. But the helmet attached to its skull was broken in half, revealing muscle and bone beneath. It opened its mouth and released a horrible sound, half scream, half whisper. The voice that came out was human, and not human. Help us. Lyra stepped back in terror. They're using their voices again. They are copying them. The creatures spread out, forming a circle. Their bodies shifted and clicked, metal plates sliding across their skin. They moved with a strange mix of human precision and alien flexibility. Their joints bent in ways no human body could. Echo 9 prepared to fire. But Reeve held up his hand. Something felt wrong. Another figure stepped out from behind the first row of creatures. This one moved slower. Its armor looked damaged, covered in deep claw marks. A helmet hung loosely from its waist. Its body shook with every step. When it got closer, the team saw a face inside the armor. A real human face. Tired. Pale. Injured. But alive. It was Sergeant Cole, one of the Titan squad members. He stumbled toward them, his voice weak. "Don't shoot. Don't shoot." Lyra rushed forward but stopped when Cole raised a hand. His movements were slow and painful, as if the armor itself was fighting him. Cole looked at Captain Reeve with empty, haunted eyes. "They don't kill us," he whispered. "They use us." Reeve swallowed hard. What happened here? Cole tried to speak, but one of the creatures behind him growled softly. Cole flinched like a frightened animal. He was afraid of them. He took a shaky breath. "We tried to fight them. We lost. They learn everything we do. Every shot, every move, they copy it. They absorb it." He lifted his arm. The armor fused to his skin pulsed with red veins. "They tried to take us too. Some of us changed. Some of us became like them. If you stay, you will join them." The creatures behind Cole began to move in a slow circle, their voices mixing together. "Stay with us." Cole suddenly grabbed Reeve's arm. His grip was stronger than any normal human's. "Run," he whispered, "before you become part of this place." Before Reeve could respond, one of the creatures lunged at Cole. It wrapped its long arms around him and pulled him backward. Cole screamed, a sound of both pain and terror. "Go!" he shouted. "Go now!" Echo 9 opened fire. Bright energy blasts filled the cavern. But the creatures dodged every shot. Some blasts hit them, but their bodies absorbed the energy like water soaking into sand. They were learning again. Reeve realized something terrifying. Every shot they fired made the creatures stronger. "Fall back," he shouted. The team retreated toward another tunnel. The creatures followed, but not to kill. Their movements were slow and careful, like hunters trying not to damage their prey. Because they wanted Echo 9 alive. As Echo 9 ran, the whispers grew louder, forming clear words now. "You are strong, you will help us, stay, stay." They reached a narrow crack in the wall just before the creatures closed in. One by one, they squeezed through the gap. Reeve was the last. As he turned, he saw Cole on the ground, being dragged deeper into the cavern. Their eyes met one last time. Cole mouthed a single word. "Run." Then the crack closed behind them, sealing Echo 9 away from the chamber. They were safe, for now. But Reeve knew something terrible. The creatures were not just hunting them. They were waiting for them to make a mistake. To weaken. To slow down. To become part of the living planet. And somewhere deep below, the Titan squad was still changing. Echo 9 moved through the narrow crack in the wall, their breaths heavy and uneven. The air inside the new tunnel was cold, much colder than before, as if the planet was angry at losing them. Captain Reeve checked his scanner, but the device only showed static. The energy around them was shifting too fast to measure. "We keep moving," Reeve said quietly. "Do not stop. Do not speak unless needed." The team nodded. The tunnel stretched out in front of them like a long throat. The walls pulsed softly with a blue light, almost like veins carrying energy. Each pulse made the ground vibrate gently, like a distant heartbeat. Lyra whispered, "It's following us. I can feel it." Reeve didn't answer. He felt it too. Something was tracking their every step. Something far larger than the creatures they had seen. Something deeper inside the planet. As they moved forward, the tunnel slowly widened until it became a huge corridor. Strange markings covered the walls, glowing faintly. They looked like symbols, patterns repeating again and again. But the shapes were not from any known human language. Vance studied them closely. "These are instructions," he said. "Patterns for building. Patterns for changing." Reeve realized something horrible. This whole place, it's a machine. They walked further until the corridor opened into a massive chamber. At first, it looked empty, but when they stepped inside, the lights on their suits activated automatically, revealing the ground beneath them. Hundreds of circular pits. Hundreds of cocoon-like structures. Hundreds of armor pieces half-fused with black organic material. This was not a battlefield. This was a factory. Lyra's voice trembled. This is where they took the Titans. Before anyone could respond, a loud crack echoed through the chamber. The ground trembled violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. The walls began to shift again, closing the entrance they came through. It's sealing us in. Vance shouted. The team ran toward the opposite side of the chamber, but the floor suddenly rose like a wave. The ground under their feet pushed them backward. They stumbled, sliding toward the center of the chamber. Then they heard it. A massive, slow breathing. Not from any creature they could see, but from the entire chamber. The walls pulsed. The floor moved. The chamber itself was alive. A deep voice, not human, not alien, rumbled through the air. It wasn't speech, but the meaning struck their minds like a cold hand. Stop running. Reeve instinctively grabbed his head. The voice wasn't heard with ears. It was inside their thoughts. The entire planet was speaking. Echo 9 aimed their weapons at the floor, ready to blast it open if needed. But before they could fire, the chamber lights changed. The blue glow turned red. The air shook again. Then the creatures arrived. Dozens of them crawled down the walls like insects. Their bodies twisted and reformed, taking the shapes needed for movement. They surrounded the team slowly, forming a tight circle. But they didn't attack. They waited. Reeve finally understood. They were not trying to kill Echo 9. They were trying to herd them. Guide them. Push them somewhere specific. Back up, Reeve ordered, though there was nowhere to go. A path opened in the circle of creatures, narrow and dark. The creatures stepped aside, revealing a long tunnel leading downward. The planet wanted them to walk into it. Sir.
Lyra visperet shakili.
What do we do? Reeve stared into the tunnel. A cold wind blew from within. It smelled like metal, ash, and something older than any species they had known. We don't follow, Reeve said firmly. We fight our way out. But the creatures reacted instantly. They stepped forward, raising their long, blade-like arms. They were not attacking, but they were warning. The planet's voice returned, even stronger this time. You will join us. Echo 9 opened fire. Energy blasts hit the creatures, but the creatures absorbed them again. Their skin glowed brighter. Their movements became faster. The more Echo 9 fought, the stronger the creatures grew. Reeve knew they had seconds, maybe minutes, before they were overwhelmed. Fall back to the wall, he shouted. They ran toward a side wall and climbed onto the broken remains of an old structure. The creatures rushed forward now, no longer waiting. Their limbs extended, grabbing at the rocks, pulling themselves up the structure. The chamber shook violently. Something massive was moving below them. Something huge enough to make the ground shift like water. Then the wall behind Echo 9 cracked open suddenly. Bright white light burst through, blinding them. A hand reached out from the crack. A human hand. A familiar voice shouted, "This way! Hurry!" Echo 9 spun around. It was another Titan squad member, or what remained of one. His armor was half destroyed, his face pale, but his eyes were still human. Reeve didn't hesitate. Move. Now. The team jumped into the crack one by one. The Titan soldier pulled them inside. As soon as Reeve entered, the crack slammed shut behind them, blocking the creatures out. They stood inside a narrow cave lit by white crystals. The Titan soldier leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. "You shouldn't have come," he whispered. "They want you alive. You're fresh minds. Fresh bodies." Reeve stepped forward. "How many Titans are still alive?" The soldier shook his head slowly. "Alive is not the right word." Before Reeve could ask more, the ground trembled again. The soldier's eyes widened. It found us. Echo 9 realized something terrifying. They escaped the creatures. But they had not escaped the planet. And the planet was now hunting them directly. The cave around Echo 9 vibrated with a slow, heavy rhythm, as if something enormous was walking deep below them. Dust fell from the ceiling. The walls pulsed with dim white light, glowing every time the planet exhaled. The Titan soldier who had saved them pressed his back to the stone, breathing hard. Reeve stepped forward carefully. What does it want? Why us? The Titan soldier shook his head. His voice was weak, tired, and full of fear. You are new. You are unbroken. Your minds are clean. The planet wants to learn you, before it changes you.
Lyra, fronet.
Change us into what? The Titan soldier looked down at his fused armor. His fingers twitched like they no longer belonged to him. Into itself, he whispered. The team went silent. A sudden loud crack split through the ground. The cave shook so violently that they almost fell. Vance grabbed the wall for support. Sir, it knows exactly where we are. Reeve looked deeper into the cave. A narrow path stretched forward, lit by pale crystals that trembled with each pulse. We move before it blocks us in. They hurried along the path. The Titan soldier limped behind them, his breathing sharp and uneven. His armor pulsed with red veins, spreading slowly across his skin. Echo 9 saw it, but said nothing. He was changing, just like Cole. The tunnel widened into a smaller chamber. In the center stood a broken console, old, half-buried, covered in dust. It didn't look human or alien. It looked ancient. A relic from whatever existed here before the creatures. The Titan soldier pointed at it. That's how we sent the first warning. Reeve's eyes widened. The broadcast? The one we heard. He nodded. This planet twists everything. It blocks signals, but sometimes, when it sleeps, there are gaps. We forced a message through. But it hurt the planet. And when it hurts, it sees. A new tremor hit. The ground cracked open behind them. From the darkness below, a massive shape pushed upward. Echo 9 saw claws, armor, and glowing eyes, bigger than any creature they had seen. Vance shouted, "It's coming up." Reeve turned to the Titan soldier. Can this console send another message? The soldier nodded weakly. Maybe a short one. But someone must stay here to hold it open. Lyra whispered, "Stay? You mean, die?" Before the soldier could answer, another violent tremor hit. Rocks collapsed from the ceiling. A huge shadow formed in the crack behind them. Something massive was crawling up the wall. Its breath echoed like thunder. The planet wasn't sending creatures anymore. It was coming itself. The Titan soldier coughed hard. His voice shook. "I will do it. I am already lost. But you still have a chance." Reeve's jaw tightened. "You don't have to." The soldier interrupted him. "I'm already changing. Soon, I will be like them. Let me do one human thing before that happens." There was no time to argue. The ground split open wider. A huge black limb grabbed the edge of the cave. The stone melted under its touch. A low voice entered their minds again. "Stay. Become. Join." Reeve shouted, "Lyra, Vance, prep the transmitter." They rushed to the console. Lyra wiped the dust away and connected her power unit. Vance rerouted energy through the suit. Sparks flew. The console flickered with faint white light. "It's working." Vance yelled. The Titan soldier staggered forward. His breathing was heavy. His armor pulsed faster now. He placed both hands on the console. The lights shot upward, forming a thin beam toward the ceiling. Deep below, the creature roared. The sound cracked the cave walls. Reeve saw the beam flicker. "Send it now." Lyra pressed the activation key. The console glowed bright white. A loud transmission echoed through the tunnel. "Do not send more, they are not what you think." The same warning they heard at the start. But Echo 9 knew it needed something more, something clearer. The Titan soldier forced the words out, even as his voice cracked. If they reach Earth, no warrior will return. The console began to spark violently. The Titan soldier screamed as red veins spread across his body. He fell to his knees, still holding the console open. His eyes glowed bright red. "It's taking him!" Lyra cried. Reeve grabbed her arm. "We need to move." The cave behind them exploded open. A massive, shapeless creature burst through. Its body looked like liquid metal mixed with bone. Hundreds of glowing eyes opened across its surface. It spoke again, shaking their minds. "You will stay." Reeve fired at the ceiling. Rocks fell, forming a barrier. "Run! Run!" Echo 9 sprinted down the final tunnel. Behind them, the console overloaded and exploded in white light. The Titan soldiers' scream echoed once, then faded into silence. The creature roared, furious. Echo 9 burst out onto the planet's surface. Their ship stood ahead, covered in dust. They ran toward it as the ground behind them cracked open again. They climbed inside and launched instantly. The ship shook violently. The planet itself tried to pull them back. Black tendrils rose from the surface, reaching for them. Reeve pushed the engines to maximum. The ship broke free into the sky. The planet's roar chased them into space. Then, silence. Echo 9 drifted into orbit. The team looked back at the dark world below. The red glow slowly faded, as if the planet was watching them leave. Lyra whispered, "Did the message reach Earth?" Reeve stared at the now silent planet. "We can only hope." But deep below the surface, thousands of glowing eyes opened again. The planet was awake. And humanity had only heard the first warning.